Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure to share some my views in Chinese Business Summit, China Business Summit. Yeah. So last year, the world struggled with the impact of COVID-19. The Chinese economy grew a modest 2.3%, was the only economy in the top 20 to enjoy economic growth. China has grown rapidly and continues to grow at a rapid rate. Looking through the effect of the COVID pandemic is to compare the economy to where it was in 2019. Over that period, GDP has risen 5% annually in real times, with exports remaining as a main driver of the Chinese economy. The labor market has mostly recovered, and there has been a jump in consumption with retail sales showing a 2-year average growth rate of 4.2% over the quarter. Yeah. Maybe the best evidence things are returning to normal is there were 102 million domestic trips during the recent Qingming holiday, back at pre-COVID level, and the national box office during the Lunar New Year were at historical high, with ticket sales at 7.8 billion RMB. Investment is also up, especially investment in high-tech industries recorded a 2-year average growth rate at 9.9%, and inbound investment rose almost 40% in the first quarter. That was the highest level since 2002. This is all good news for China, and if economic growth had a World Cup, I think China would be the other All Blacks. Two-way trade between China and New Zealand was over 32 billion NZ dollars in 2020. Last year, the total value of goods New Zealand exported to the world fell 416 million, and New Zealand export to China rose by 369 million. And so the last speaker side, dual circulation is a focus on domestic consumption and providing goods and services for consumption by Chinese public to sustain growth in the Chinese economy over the coming years. Internal consumption does not create a closed loop that excludes the rest of the world. Dual circulation is an open two-way circulation that creates new opportunities for China's economic partners. China has reduced the share of export goods and services in its GDP from 67% to 32% since 2006, and become less reliant on export-led growth. In China, internal consumption is only 55% of GDP, significantly lower than other global economies. The US, for instance, has a domestic economy that accounts for over 80% of its GDP, making it less dependent on the rest of the world than China. Focusing on the domestic economy is a natural development for any large economy that has primarily grown as a trading nation. Is also a pragmatic solution strategy. Market. So China has a population of 1.4 billion and a middle class more than 400 million people with $6 trillion of consumption power. The growing domestic consumption, together with ongoing policies of open up, will underpin robust demand for New Zealand exports of high value-add products, not just agricultural commodities. This is also supported by the upgraded FTA and RCEP, of which China is a member. Technology and innovation. Tech and innovation will be the drivers of the next stage of China's development. In this process, China will replace some of its high-tech imports with goods and services it developed at home. And this, in turn, will lead to greater self-reliance, just as New Zealand winning the America's Cup. New Zealand's tech industry earned 12.7 billion NZ dollar last year. This was 10% higher than the year before. New Zealand creates niche products and services, and the industry wants to be the country's biggest export earner by 2030. China's demand for tech innovation has never been greater. Food security, biosecurity, and the science of food will be the next Mount Everest. New Zealand, I think, is in prime position to develop a new comparative advantage in this area. Green economy and climate change. Global economic growth comes at a cost. New Zealand aspired to be carbon neutral by 2050. Meanwhile, China set its target by 2060. Businesses and economies will have to become more sustainable. Quality will become more important than quantity. The market of the future will be the market of ideas, where collaboration and cooperation are key export drivers. Greater economic self-reliance is about economic resilience, and advances in tech and innovation will be required to create the value that creates wealth and protects the planet. Green tech is the intersection of two key drivers. The complementary goals and ambitions of China and New Zealand make them natural partners. New Zealand may be small, but it's a nation that builds boats that fly. It's the home of rocket lab and reusable rockets. New Zealand, despite its size, is perfectly placed to participate in the future. It makes sense for New Zealand to continue to focus on China. Simply diversifying commodity production across the globe is to fall behind in creating a sustainable future. New Zealand and China share the same future. We are, after all in this together. So maybe everybody knows I'm the chair of the China Chamber of Commerce. So we take great pride in building a strong and resilient relationship between China and New Zealand businesses. We have organized many activities, such as opening door to the West. In conjunction with China-New Zealand Year of Tourism 2019, Vision 2020 Conference, and most recently, the promotion of CIIE, where CCCNZ, as an official authorized agency, jointly cooperated with NZTE. As part of CCCNZ's social responsibility, we have raised over 200,000 NZ dollars for Starship Foundation, APO, Auckland City Mission, Mercy Hospice, and St. John. We just finished a survey of our members. We had 129 responses from our 150 members. This is a snapshot of the local Chinese business operating in New Zealand. We can see how COVID-19 impacted them, what they think will happen in the future, and the support they need. 2/5 of businesses saw their turnover increase, but many businesses suffered, particularly some of our members exporting to China. Most of our members have seen no change in full-time staff numbers, although smaller businesses were more likely to have decreased full-time staff numbers, while larger businesses increased staff numbers. Looking forward, over half of our members remain confident, especially those who import from China. Most of our members are also confident their business will grow in the next 3 years. Just 1 in 10 say their business will be smaller. No one is intending to relocate outside New Zealand in the next 3 years. Many of our members believe the same sectors that shaped the trade relationship between China and New Zealand before the pandemic will continue to drive opportunities between China and New Zealand in the future. That is tourism, education, and the primary industry. Members also noted construction and materials were important, but that supply shortages are a threat to supply of new homes in this country. However, most of our members are positive about the future. Many have concerns with staff not being able to enter New Zealand. There's more of concern for Chinese-based investment companies. So an open border between China and New Zealand is the most pressing issue the government should look at. To wrap up, Chinese economy remains resilient. The dual circulation has more opportunities for New Zealand. Most of our local Chinese businesses has done well post-COVID-19 and is confident about New Zealand economy. New Zealand-China travel bubble needs to open as quick as possible. Thank you. My best wishes to everyone.
Thank you very much, David, for that presentation. We've just got time for one quick question, which I'm going to take. I thought your survey was really interesting, and I think that that comment from your membership that the challenge of bringing staff into New Zealand from China has been a significant challenge. I just wondered if you could maybe speak to which sectors in particular that staff challenge is occurring and how companies are navigating that at the moment.
I think which sector, frankly speaking, I don't know so details, but I think most of the company, especially invested by China, have a big impact for our staff to New Zealand. For example, our banking industry. So some of our staff, I think, is around more than 1 year. Our expats cannot back to New Zealand to work. It's not a material impact to our business, but it's a big impact to our business. Because this expat staff, they familiar with our group policy and our system and of our business. So they already work in New Zealand around several years. They know New Zealand market, New Zealand best practice. So these expats, I think we hope them will come in soon. And some of the Chinese investment company here, I think have some big impact because the expats mainly are senior management team member. So this is I think it's a frustration for the company, for this kind of company. I think the material impact, especially to our individual staff. For example, 2 of our staff working in my bank, so they joined us before COVID-19, just the end of 2019. but their family so far cannot come to New Zealand. So their partners and the children just maybe, I think, still work in Canada and Thailand. So the family issue, I think, is a big challenge to our staff. It's not good for well-being. So just like our members' survey result, I strongly recommend open border to China as quickly as possible. If not, before that, can we open the business corridor between China and New Zealand for the work visa holders and also the business visitors? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, David.
Thank you.